That was some weird background noise. Did you hear that when the intro played?
I just heard the music.
All right. Welcome to The Perspective. Back after, was it 2 or 3 weeks off? I don't remember which. I'm sorry for having to cancel the last show last minute. Some personal things came up. I do sincerely apologize. So hopefully I haven't missed a beat and we'll have a good show tonight. How are you?
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back here on The Perspective and ready to talk about some supernatural claims, because I love that. Apparently, you've had some supernatural events pop up in your life here lately.
I have, and I was reluctant to talk about them because I don't necessarily want to give creed or merit to these supernatural claims, because I typically reject all supernatural claims. But I think this is an exciting one to talk about. So, a few weeks, brilliant idea of my Facebook is full of a lot of different people. So I decided that, hey, I'm going to challenge all of the witches on my Facebook to put a negative hex on me. Now, I was asked why I didn't want a positive hex. The reason I didn't want a positive one is because if anything good happened, I didn't want to give them credit, especially because there were a couple things I was working on. And I was like, I really do not want them getting credit for these things. I worked hard for it. Are you serious? Why is it not? Okay, if you're right. Sorry guys, those who are watching right now, something is happening with YouTube and it's not going live. What the heck? There we go. It's live. Okay. I don't know what happened. If you're watching the YouTube comments, say something. Okay, cool. We're good.
Good. Yeah, I don't know
what's happening there. That was weird.
I don't know what that was about, but anyway.
Okay, so I guess back to what I was saying. Oh, yeah, I didn't want to give the witches like credit for any of the good things I did. So I asked for a negative hex, and immediately people were commenting like, don't do this, don't ask for this. Even my friends who weren't believers were like, you're just inviting negative energy into your life. This is the stupidest thing you could do. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, anyways, hey, put a hex on me. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me how long it will take. And I pissed off one witch in particular, so much so that she sends me a personal message saying she's heavily offended by my challenge and the fact that I wouldn't defend her supernatural ability in the comment section. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't believe it. So she's like, you're going to regret it. I am going to do my work on you. I forgot what she said. And I'm just like, okay. And not kidding you. Later that same night, man, I had a series of events that just made my life start going. And for like the next 3 weeks, I was in total hell. And I'm like thinking, I should not have invited that negative energy, not the witches, but the negative energy into my life, because then I was focusing on it. But here's a few things that happened. Now, to be clear and very transparent, prior to me putting this post on Facebook, I had already been feeling an increasing amount of anxiety at that point. So, point one, the witches are not responsible for my anxiety. I was already feeling it. It just got worse because of the events that happened. One of the weird things that happened, I'm driving home, okay? I have my sunroof open, windows open, and I'm stuck in traffic, and I'm just sitting there. And all of a sudden, I see something hit my window, and I feel something on my shoulder. A bird shit through my sunroof and landed on my shoulder. I'm like,
I don't mean to laugh
right now.
Yeah.
Yes. So then I go to get home, and guess what happens? I'm locked out of the house. And I'm just like, okay, what is going on? So I finally get in the house. It's like 2 a.m. I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm, you know what? I don't care. I'll tell this story anyway. I have to go pee, and I go to the bathroom, and the dog all of a sudden just charges in and barks and scares the crap out of me while I'm peeing. And as a result, I rotated and peed on the wall and myself. Yes. And I'm just like, I should have never asked for this hex, man. What's happening? And
oh my.
yes. And then something else, the finale of what started the events happened that night, which I'm not going to talk about. But after that point, I had some bad luck for a couple weeks, man. And that's
It happens to every guy. Just telling you, we're getting older, Ethan. It's just gonna be, that's what's gonna happen.
But it was, and I had people reach out to me like, you see, you really should have never challenged those witches. And I'm like, guys, look, okay, I get it. It looks like the witches cursed me, but everything that happened outside of the smaller things was like already there. It just hadn't surfaced yet. Yeah. So in my opinion, the witches didn't actually do anything. I was just more receptive to seeing these bad things happen because of where my head was, and I was already in a negative headspace. What are your thoughts on that?
And I'm not with, I'm not disparaging any of the witches that you talk to, but with, I can only talk about maybe some mediums and stuff that I dealt with, and it kind of, and that's the proposition is they want to set you up so your mind is counting, doing what they call, counting the hits and dismissing the misses, yeah. And your brain from being, I'm just speculating, may have been counting everything bad that happened throughout the day, and just kind of adding it up. There may have been good stuff that happened too. Now the bird, that's a once in a lifetime shot, but
it is, man, right through the sunroof on the expressway, just right on my shoulder. It was, yeah. I was just like, yep, okay, that figures.
Yeah, that's the way it kind of goes. And it doesn't take a witch to make a day turn into that, because something bad happens, early in the day. Things start piling up, things that wouldn't have bothered you maybe,
right, if
you didn't, like if you weren't on edge, maybe your dog wouldn't have jumped or made you, things like that. Because I don't know, it's like it doesn't happen to me, but it happens to my wife when she watches a scary movie. She'll be really, really jumpy for hours after that, or even for the rest of the night. Right. So if the dog barks, she'll jump up with the start. Or yeah, if she was going pee, she might have, had that same thing kind of happen. But yeah, it's it really does. It's priming your mind to look for things, and that's part of being human. Is the pareidolia is what they usually for a visual, but it's not necessarily just visual. You can look for patterns in events. You can look for voices in the white noise on the TV if you set your mind to it.
Yeah. By the way, I should have said this at the beginning of the show. If you have a supernatural claim or experience, give us a call, 951-ENGAGE, and you can get BrainBug's and my perspective on the situation.
Yeah, that number right down there that's scrolling across. Give us a call. It's been a minute since since last time we talked. We did have a couple of good calls last time. I was hoping to kind of continue that trend. We had Baby D calling in. She had some claims about a demon that she thought was harassing her. So stuff like that. We're really interested in hearing your story about it and kind of looking into it and going through the steps of the events. And we're not looking to necessarily debunk anything. We want to hear your story, and we want to scrutinize a little bit and kind of look and see if we can't find the root, or maybe the root is supernatural. But give us a call and we'll look into it.
Good plug there, Brian. I will say, and I'd like to bridge this to religion just a little bit. During this time, I had for those that knew something was off, I did have several Christian friends reach out to me, and they said the normal. They'll pray for me, and I know they mean well by that, and I appreciate it. But there was two in particular that were like, now is the time to drop to your knees and ask Jesus and God for forgiveness, and he will save you. And I'm just like, I'm good, but thank you. Like, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't, because guess what? Everything got better. Now, everything would have gotten better with or without God. So I'm glad I didn't choose God. I'm glad I chose myself and the people around me.
Yeah, because it would have been another one of those situations where once you set your brain that you made this move to will the universe to act in your favor this time, and all of a sudden stuff starts getting better. That would have been the natural course of thought, is to take that, oh, well, that's because I did this. So
Right.
yeah,
I'm glad I chose myself and my friends and family. We do have a caller. So we have Marcia. You are on with Brian and Ethan. How are you?
I'm good, Ethan and Brian. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Do you have a supernatural story for us, Marcia?
Yes, I do.
oh boy, let's go.
Okay, many years ago, during my spiritual search, I went to a seminar in which there was about 200 people, and we were in a auditorium, I guess, with about that could seat 5,000. We were all up towards the front. I was there with my parents, and the speaker was by the stage, and at that point offered some like healing. Not that it wasn't like healing like, oh, we're gonna cure your broken leg or whatever. And so I'm standing in the line, and all of a sudden I smelled roses, as if the roses were right in front of me, and it made me very emotional. So when I went back to my seat, there were just a few of us that could smell roses, yet people that were sitting next to us, including my parents, could not smell them. And some people were saying, well, you experienced Jesus. I didn't think that. I just knew that I had experienced it was so emotional and spiritual that how could some of us smell roses and others couldn't?
Well, that's
That's
so. Was there any other individuals that said that you spoke to that said they were smelling it too, or was it just something that you smelled alone?
No, there were a few of us. There was just people within the room, certain rooms, that smelled them, and the others, people who, like I said, I could smell them, and I was standing next to my parents, and they didn't smell a thing, yet I and several others, not all, were smelling roses. And some people, the speaker said, well, that sorry, this is probably going to sound crazy, that probably Virgin Mary was there. This was not a Catholic thing or anything like that, but
Okay.
that was definitely a spiritual experience. That's all I could say.
So did you? Now, a lot of people, when they have these kind of experiences, they may comment that they felt a presence. Was it like that there was a presence there with that was accompanying the smell?
There was a definite energy, a very powerful energy, because it was a very spiritual experience.
Okay, energy. That's an interesting direction. Now, as far as that energy goes, so was it like a lot of people have described energies as, when this energy passed through me as getting chills, maybe butterflies in the stomach, just a little buzz around the head. So when you say that it was an energy, how did you experience that?
Oh, this is where I have trouble with words. I could just feel it. I didn't have chills. I didn't see anything. You felt that something was there, but I don't know how to put it in words for you, but it's not something that every day you feel. It was just so powerful and emotional.
So,
and
now when I told a little bit about this the last time I was on the show, I used to get sleep paralysis when I had this really weird job, having working really weird hours for about 8 months, and I would get sleep paralysis like regularly. And every time I'd get that sleep paralysis, I would feel like there was a presence in the room with me. I'd feel like that I wasn't alone there. There was something in the room with me. It was maybe a little different than your experience, because it was terrifying, because I'm paralyzed and I can't move. But I know, looking back and studying into it, that that those feelings are common with these situations, and it's really a reflection of your brain chemistry trying to paint pictures or fill in the corners of things that you're experiencing with your senses that you can't quite pin down. I don't want to discount your situation there, because you said multiple people were testifying to that, and of course, unfortunately, eyewitness testimony is not the best to go on, but being able to independently verify it certainly holds more water than if you were making the claim yourself. Ethan, did you have any points to touch on?
What do you think what do you think smelling the roses is related to, or the significance of it?
That's what I don't understand, because I've been exposed to many different religions through my life, through my own spiritual journey, and it was just the bizarrest thing. It was like I said, like somebody put a bottle of perfume of roses underneath my nose, and yet my very mom and dad are just like, Marsha, I don't smell a thing. And I'm like, you can't smell that? And there were other people that it was like this sudden thing. Like, I don't know if there's a mechanical way to pick out, let's just say it was 10, 15 people. I don't remember. I was 21 at the time, out of 200, and they sprayed perfume in our nose. How they would do that, I don't know. And it was I got in tears. It was just extremely emotional and powerful experience. I couldn't tell you how or why. As far as I know, I had no illnesses. And that being said, I'm going to bring, please excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather that I'm talking funny. But I had a couple of experiences in my. What? Were you going to say something?
Oh no, I was just saying it's fine. I didn't notice anything about your voice. You go on ahead. Just listening to your tale.
When my dad was dying, they were going to bring him home from the hospital for hospice, and I was sitting in the house alone waiting for some place to bring the bed, and I just felt like, it was a feeling again. It was an energy, and something in my mind was just that, okay, my dad's saying goodbye to me, and this is it. Now, you could say, well, yeah, you probably were thinking that. So my dad did come home eventually that night, and he did die the next morning at 6 o'clock. The story continues. Years later, it was actually of 9 years ago, I'm sitting in bed watching TV. I had just gotten home from work, and all of a sudden felt this energy, a sensation. And I just turned and looked. Nobody was home. And I'm like, oh, hi, Dad. This was years later. All of a sudden, my dad enters my mind, And I'm like, everything okay? And, you know, I was talking out loud to myself, as crazy as that sounds. The following night, the same thing happened, 2 nights in a row. And it was two nights before Thanksgiving. And then on the next day on Thanksgiving, my son died. I just find that interesting. I'm not going to say what exactly it was, but I do believe that there are things out there that we cannot explain, and I don't think at this time science can explain that.
Okay. Well, I got a couple of questions about the situation with your father. How old were you when this happened?
The first one, when my dad died.
Yeah, when your father passed away.
Dad died in 1998, and my son died in 2011.
Okay. I was just wondering, because I've recently lost my dad. Oh, I shouldn't say recently. It's been almost a decade now, but it still feels like yesterday. I remember that time period. I remember the day before he was home on hospice too, but I got a chance to sit down and talk to him. It was really put my mind in a place where, you know, I was expecting the worst. And then when I got the call that he passed away, my car got buried in the snow. A whole chain of events followed on that really compounded the situation and really put me on edge. But a peaceful feeling passing over you before they passed away. Are you thinking it was a supernatural presence that was coming to get them, or I'm not sure what I guess what the claim is that you think, or I shouldn't say it's a claim here. What
the claim is that the first one, where the day before my dad died, was my dad's soul saying goodbye. That's what I believe. And the other two was my dad in some way either coming to get my son or warning me, like letting me know something was going to happen. But both times, the 2 nights before, it was not a bad feeling. It was just like a whoosh, like an energy was there. And again, it's not like wind blew, nothing like that. You know, we're not watching Poltergeist, you know, it's nothing like that.
Well, when I hear these the energy claims, it's I always want to try to kind of get to the bottom of that, because how it is described, like I said, a few different people describe it a few different ways, but I really want to know where do we get the impression that it's external, I guess, that it's not something that's working through within us. It's not a product of our own biology. It would if wind. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted you.
I was just going to say, if wind was passing over the area or something, that would be a bit more substantial than a feeling. Because there's lots of things that will make, and it does sound like you feel that there was something there, which I can respect, but it's almost like there could be natural biology at work there. What do you think, Ethan?
So yeah, I was gonna ask that, Marcia. Do you think it's possible that maybe since we don't know the explanation, or we don't have a way to investigate it,
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't necessarily jump to saying it's a supernatural. We should hold off on that until there's a way we could show it's supernatural, because there's too many questions, I feel, right now to be able to narrow it down to the supernatural is the best way I could put it. Like,
Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My brain trailed off. Sorry.
Well, it's the personal experiences. That's the thing about them is they're personal. It's just like some people will claim special revelation from a deity, and that works to verify things for that person, and that's fine. But to independently verify it, there just needs to be something more substantial, something testable is really what it comes down to.
Here, let me ask you this. So, after my brother passed, I had there was one dream in particular I had of him that was just very, very strong, to the point that like it's still in my memory to this day. He had on a white shirt. He always wore white shirts like me. My brother also gave like the best hugs on the planet. But in this dream, like it was very realistic. I was talking to him like he had already, like he had passed on, and I was talking to him from his passed on location, or I thought I was. And when I woke up, I smelled my brother, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like my brother was really here. But what if my memory just like where I look at it now as is, what if my memory just triggered that smell? And what if it wasn't actually, me talking to my brother? It was just my memory, my brain creating a memory for me, and thus that strong memory prompted that smell. Do you think that's possible?
I think the way you're explaining it is. So I could not deny your explanation, but I also think that people travel, their souls travel. So it's very possible that on a different plane that I scientifically cannot explain to you, that you visited him. But I can't prove my way. You could probably prove yours before I could prove mine. But your explanation does make sense, Ethan.
Well, thank you. We got to move on to our next caller, but I do want to thank you very much for calling in.
Thanks, Marcia. You've been really pleasant to talk to.
And I hope you feel better.
Nice to talk to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
I gotta say, I prefer supernatural experiences to talk about than God claims. Like I enjoyed doing that more.
Yeah, it leaves a lot more open to kind of study, I guess. And when we get to talk about brain chemistry, it really gets into the nitty gritty. And you can talk about that with a God claim, but you only have so much application before you hit a brick wall. But when it comes to stuff happening independently, I like when there's physical stuff happening, though, when they start talking about if there may be things moving around or cold spots, things that can be tested.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our next caller. We have Anna. You are on with Ethan and BrainBug. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
No problem. Good having me.
So what do you got for us?
Well, I tuned in because I'm with Marcia on the experience. I went to Chicago with my family, and we're super Catholic, and it's just one of those things that I'm obligated to go to. So I'm like, all right, let's go do this. And we got blessed and anointed with oils on our foreheads. And it was like, whatever, okay, it finished up. I'm like, yay, we get to go home. I get to go on my video games, and it's going to be just a regular Sunday. And we got home, and there was no actual flowers in our house, but the whole house smelled like roses. And we didn't smell it in the car. We didn't smell it when the seminar was, when we had the oils on our foreheads. We smelled it all at the same time when we walked into the house. And like Marsha was saying, that energy and that presence was definitely there. So, the weird thing is right before Marsha started talking about the roses, I started thinking about that experience and sharing it. And so I kind of freaked out a little bit because I'm like, wait. Whoa, like I was about to share this experience, but Marsha beat me to it. So I definitely think that you both being skeptical is fair, but I think it's for you guys to experience yourself. And, no one can really convince you unless you have that happen to you, because it's then it's like, all right, this is something I'm going to cherish. This is my moment. And I think the supernatural is like God intervening and being like, booyah, you thought I wasn't here. So it was pretty cool to hear Marsha's story on that.
I have had what I thought were supernatural experiences before. I'll summarize one in particular that really freaked me out, and then we can touch base on Anna's. I went to, this is many years ago. Supposedly a little girl died in this house. I don't know how true it was, but at the time I believed it. When we went inside this house, the dog refused to go upstairs, and we were hearing noises. When the three of us tried to go upstairs, my buddy immediately got vehemently ill and runs outside and starts puking. And he's like, I smell death, man. It's freaking me out. Now, this is not somebody I would take as someone that would lie to me. So I do genuinely believe he smelt something awful. However, I totally forgot where I was going with this. At the time, we essentially believed it's haunted, and I really thought the supernatural existed. However, looking back, I feel I was just a victim of suggestion and emotion, and there really wasn't. I have no reason to believe there was anything supernatural going on.
It seems like there's always some kind of supernatural priming that happens before these, like the seminar that they were discussing, or that Marsha was discussing. Anna, where did you say that you had come from, that you were anointed? Was that a church experience?
It was a religious seminar in the city, and my mom was really into like religious groups, like especially Filipino ladies. They're very very Catholic and very disciplined in their culture with that. So they had us go to the city and get blessed at a church. And yeah, it was at a church, and then we went home, and that's when the roses, that smell came and hit us. So,
what do you think the significance of smelling roses is?
From what I've learned, it's a sign of like the Virgin Mary for me, and I don't want to get too religious about it, but for me, it's like it's definitely a symbolic thing. Like when you're praying, you usually see in church, you'll see Mary with roses, veiled around her clothing or at her feet, and that was for me very symbolic of the Virgin Mary.
So and I'm not Catholic. I've never been part of a Catholic church or participated too much in it. Is it a common thing for the Virgin Mary to smell like roses or to be associated with roses? Is that cultural?
There's a association with the Virgin Mary and roses, and that's how I associated. That's how I interpreted also for myself. How anyone else interprets it, it's different, but for me, that's how I took it. I know in that moment, that energy, that's what I was thinking about when I was smelling it. And I don't know if that was just because I was in a church environment, but that for me is how I interpreted that energy and that aroma when it hit, it hit all of our family. It was me, my three brothers, my mom, and my dad. And, I would have second guessed it if it was just me kind of just smelling something like, oh, okay, maybe somebody spoke something or whatever it may be. But because it all hit us at the same time, it was truly like the reaction was amplified, and you're all just kind of in shell shock looking at each other like, what's going on?
And just to let you know, we got Marsha in the Facebook chat right now. She's just giving you the thumbs up on what you're saying. Just advising that it sounds similar to her experience. I don't know if you're out there in that chat or not, but yeah, she's supporting your message here about the Virgin Mary being associated with the smell of roses. I had not heard that before, so that's a new one for me.
So
yeah, I was my family is very strict and disciplined with me studying, the Catholic, and Catholic is more strict, and So I spent a lot of my time, some Sundays I didn't want to be at church, but I spent my time there, and I had to listen to the readings, and, in a way it kind of disciplined me to focus my eyes on things that I couldn't see. And I think that's where faith comes in, and that's where you kind of have to, make it what you want, what you need it to be for yourself, not necessarily whether you want to believe it or not. Just be open to accepting it for what it's coming in as. So
would you say, just based on my interpretation of what you're saying, when you say you kind of make faith whatever or you go with whatever it is, would you say that's the best way to determine what's true or not?
Yeah. I think I didn't really get more grounded in my faith until I stepped away from the routine of it all. I took it on for what it was for myself, and I didn't let it be a thing where it was something that I was manipulated with, something that was used to control, something that was used to something that was just routine. Every Sunday you go to church, you do it for an hour, you leave church, you repeat it the next week. It became more so like, for me, when I had nothing else to reach for, I started getting other things that intervened in my life that gave me strength to pick up and move on to the next thing. And it really propelled me to see outside of my own thoughts and myself and lean on a higher understanding.
So can I ask you, I guess, all right, how or what specifically changed in your faith? Like when you said you were doing it wrong, or you were just going along with the flow, like how did you, what tools did you implement, or what changes were made that gave you this new perspective?
I just think life hit me, and there were hurdles in life, and there were challenges I was faced with. There were times where I became really sick. It was, I was on the edge of, like Marsha was talking about, these experiences where you're experiencing death and losses and stuff. And I think that in that moment, a lot of things intervene. And like you were saying with your brother, for me, when you were talking about it, I just think that that's kind of somebody coming to visit you. They're like, hey, I'm here around. And so for me, it's definitely like an energy field of messages that it's not necessarily, written out in black and white lettering, but it's written out in energy, and we bounce it off each other.
Okay. Just to address again, because the energy thing keeps coming up. What methodology did you use to discount that was something natural happening within your own body? Because at least in the stories that I've heard, in the one Marsha told as well, it was more of something that was happening within. There was no external, no wind blowing, no lights flickering or anything. Just something that's happening within yourself. So what did you use to determine that wasn't just something natural happening within your body?
I always get, I always am skeptical at first. I don't allow myself to just take it for what it is. And I always get something that validates that. Like, I'll be experiencing it, and then somebody else says it. They say what I'm experiencing, and that to me is like a confirmation of, well, this is not just my mind. This is, I'm not just, playing tricks on myself, and I'm not just, believing what I want to believe or going crazy. Because sometimes when it's happening, you're like, all right, take a step back, process this. Like, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. And, I'll have moments, where, on Friday prayers, like I go to Friday prayers with my mom, my brothers, and there'd be times where people would be sitting there for about 5 minutes, and you just pray and you pray and you pray and you keep praying. And then all of a sudden, somebody goes up to just relay a message. And sometimes that message would be what I was praying about. And it's this energy, it's this way of connecting with human beings without having to speak any words and without having to do anything but be present in the moment and be focused on what's going on around you.
Let me, you say you're skeptical, correct?
I'm not skeptical anymore. Was I skeptical at times? Yeah, I do. I think I always had faith. Yes, because I was started off like, you know, I was raised from when I was first born to now, having that being instilled in me all the time. So, but did it take me taking my own path in it to understand it on a deeper level? I think so. But I was skeptical to what degree the supernatural and the higher power being out there until I started having my own experiences.
Now, when you experience specifically, again, I want to keep coming back to the smell of the roses and the energy that you felt, because it sounds really, you know, something definitely that you could look into. But it's again, it comes back to there's certain things that'll happen within your brain. People who have seizures and what have you, they'll lose some cognition, and then they'll smell, you know, like cooking bacon or things along those lines. And some people will use that, even people who have regular seizures. I believe we have somebody here who had seizures. Will be able to anticipate that they're coming based on a feeling passing through their body, or a smell that they start picking up on. I don't know if Ethan's seizures particularly had those kind of sensory reactions.
Yes, I would usually it's hard to explain like what would happen. Like things would get warm and tingly, and it would, like, my brain started feeling like it was going into a tunnel, like where it's like I could no longer utilize my entire brain. I was just like feeling this weird emotion, and I knew it was coming. And whenever I felt that, I immediately had to like stop what I'm doing or go lay down or get away, because I knew it was coming on. I am highly in tune with my body. I did strongman for many years. I think many people who work out can understand their body, and I can't get my words together today. Wow. The mind-body connection, blah. There we go. So I go a lot off feelings, and I know sometimes that upsets some people because I can't always explain it. But I still try and utilize the tools I'm given to determine like why I'm getting these feelings. And I'm sorry, can you take this, BrainBug?
No, you're okay. No, I get what you're saying. That's exactly where I was moving to. So there was a period of time not too long ago where someone experiencing the things that Ethan experienced with his seizures would have been culturally doubtless that this was caused by supernatural forces. There would have been, that's how it would have been interpreted, and there wouldn't have been any medical knowledge to break that down and say, this is what's happening. This is what's happening inside your brain that's causing this. And even right now with conditions, we're still learning. So I'm in the position right now where we've seen conditions, diseases that cause things that people have attributed to supernatural forces in the past, and now we have a scientific explanation for them. And as we learn more and more about the brain, it seems that these experiences get pushed further and further. It kind of a supernatural forces of the gaps, if you will, getting pushed back into the parts of the brain that we don't understand yet. And I just, when you talk about smelling something and having a feeling pass through your body, I can only say that there are medical conditions that will cause you to feel stuff pass through your body and pick up scents, see lights, hear sounds, experience temporal slowdowns, just all kinds of crazy stuff that can happen within your brain that has been, tracked down and nailed down to medical conditions and basically brain chemistry. So when you make the claim about the smell and the roses and the energy passing through you, I can't help but draw that connection. Are you still with us, Anna?
That's understandable. Like I said, the experience is outside of yourself. It feels like something outside of yourself. It doesn't, and maybe, I could be saying that and you're experiencing it and you're internalizing it, but what's happening is truly outside of yourself. And, just Marsha even talking about it and giving me that thumbs up. It's certain people that you connect with on a different level, and those confirmation that happened to somebody else really, takes it away from me. Like, you feel crazy in the moment, but it takes it away from you. And, I can't speak, I can try to understand, with seizures and with what you're going through, but, and try to empathize with it. But I can't physically be in your body to see what you're experiencing when you're going through that. And like I said, I'm open to it, and I'm going into actually neurosonography because I'm so fascinated by the human brain and, how much it can do to keep us going and propel us forward. And, is this maybe just a survival technique? But, people will put it on science and put it on, you're just trying to rationalize in the moment to make yourself feel better. And it's a comfort thing. But to me, it's so much more than that. And like I said, you have to experience it for yourself in order to really, really, truly connect and believe it on that level.
Would you have any suggestions for us so that we could perhaps get from where we're at to where you're at in any of our future experiences?
Yeah, for me, it's like, don't be very quick to call, BS on everything that's coming through. Just open, be an open vessel to all the energy and I think you both are doing that with even having this podcast. Is you're open to hearing it, and I think in a way it's healthy from both ends, from people who might be like a little skeptical, and from others who are like, no, like this is a real deal, like this is happening. And I hope it's pretty cool, honestly. And I wish I could grasp every moment when I get those experiences and hold on to them, but they're usually pretty quick and they kind of pass you up in an inkling of a second. And so I just hope that, you both kind of experience it for yourselves, because it is pretty cool to experience, and it definitely gives you a different perspective on life.
Well, thank you, Anna. Brian, did you have anything else?
Oh no, other than adding, because I like what she said there. It's good for both sides of a belief to talk about it. And you know what? When it comes to this stuff, it's fun too. I really enjoyed talking to you today, Anna, about your experience and about neurology. It's fascinating that you're going to be going and studying neurology. Hey, maybe you're the one who will get this all sorted out for us. So who knows what the future holds.
I'm aiming for the Nobel Peace Prize, so
I look forward to that. Then I could say, hey, Anna got that Nobel Peace Prize. She got her start on this show.
I think you're like, hey, I know that girl. She's
Yes.
that crazy girl that called in and said she smelled the roses.
No, I would not say you're crazy.
Name or a quote, go out and smell the roses. Isn't that a thing? So I guess I went out and I smelled the roses that day, but it was a very cool experience. And like Marsha said, I'm kind of blown away and freaked out that at the same time I was thinking about it, she started pouring those words out of her mouth, and I'm like, all right, I gotta call in. I picked up the phone. I'm like, I'm calling in.
Well, I'm glad you did. I really appreciate you taking the time to call us and share your experience.
All right, thank you for having me. Let's talk aliens or something.
For sure, that should be the next episode.
Oh, I went on aliens.
Thanks for calling in, Anna.
You guys, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
You know, aliens would be a good episode. Do you have?
Extraterrestrial experience?
Yes. And we'll give you our perspective on that too. Although I would say, in my opinion, alien life is far more likely than the supernatural.
Yeah, I think it's with you think about how big the universe is and everything, that it's less likely that we're here alone than that we are here alone in this vast universe. Now, when you start making claims that they've come to visit you or that they've taken you in their ships and stuff, that's where I want to get into it. That's where I want to hear about those experiences.
Yeah. So if you have an alien abduction experience, call the show. But no, seriously, if you have any other supernatural claims or experiences, the number is at the bottom of the screen. We are back to a normal schedule every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So, I find that oftentimes, BrainBug, have you ever said, do you prefer BrainBug or do you prefer Brian?
You can call me Brian. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah.
Brian. I find that there are many people, many believers who oftentimes will say skeptics are closed-minded. And I think that's a misunderstanding, because I think in many cases, we are actually the more open-minded ones, because when you have someone who's a believer, well, they're already telling you they have the answer. They're saying, hey, I've eliminated all possibilities. Right now, the aliens didn't do this. My mind didn't do this. It is 100% a supernatural experience. And we're sitting here saying, hey, I don't really believe that's a supernatural experience. I don't know what it is. Let's try and figure it out. So from where I'm at, I think we are the open-minded ones.
I know I am would always have described myself as, I spent years before I came to the decision that none of this is real. I spent years and years. I joined paranormal investigation teams. I went to medium seminars. I've visited haunted cemeteries in the middle of the night and all this good stuff, and just looking for this, because I'm the kind of person who I want verification of before I sit down on a belief. And it just never came and never came. Other people would have experiences and say, "Oh, this happened to me here," and I slept in this hotel room and this happened. And I'm like, I want that. I want to have this confirmation that something goes on beyond death. Was a lot of it. The majority of it was beyond death stuff. I wanted to experience that. That's what brought me here, and I still do. If you can give me something to say, yes, this will confirm an afterlife to you, bring it to me. I want to see it. I really do.
I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, let me put it to you like this. If there's something out there, I want to know. Like, for example, because right now, from my perspective, I'm never going to see my brother who passed away again. So if you tell me I get to see my brother in the afterlife again, and you could prove that to me, you damn right I'm going to jump on board, man. I'm going to accept that shit in a heartbeat.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm not going to accept it just because I want it to be true. Me wanting to see my brother again should not cloud my judgment on whether or not I will actually see him again.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. In a perfect situation, we would. Yeah, I would be a believer on a heartbeat. I would the afterlife, but I just haven't seen any evidence for it. Besides, it's just like with religion in general. It's not it's not you experiencing it. It's people telling you that they experienced that. All supernatural claims seem to be that way. Secondhand accounts. I've not had any firsthand experiences, and I've actively looked for them. So. And it delves into religion too. I've participated in all kinds of religions to try to make that happen. You have something to say?
Yeah, no, before we'll get to our next caller in 1 second, but I have had in my life many of what I thought were supernatural experiences dating back to when I was like 6 years old. I found many things where I was like, oh my God, it's something bigger, but it just, with time and learning, I found that I personally, I'm not saying other people, just me personally, did not have a good reason to believe any of those things were supernatural. And And I'm not saying, hey, it's 100% not supernatural. I'm just saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to reserve judgment until I have evidence leaning, a particular way. All right, I want to get to our next caller. They did not go through the automated system. So just fair warning to everyone, I do not have call screeners. This is live. Anything can happen. Sometimes words get said. I'll try and mute as quickly as possible if anything happens. But in the meantime, let's get I believe it's Isabel. You're on with Brian and Ethan. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well, thank you.
Hi.
What do you got for us today?
Mine's a little different. About 9 years ago, I had fallen 40 feet off a balcony. And
I'm sorry.
I don't recall. Yeah, well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
True.
I don't recall the fall. I mean, I remember falling and I literally just put my hands to the side and said, oh shit, I thought that was it. And I never believed in this. I read books, Life After Life and all that. I was born and raised Catholic, but very against the religion. And I saw a very, very bright light. And I thought it was, a balcony light. And my grandfather, who has passed away when I was 5, now mind you, I was 24 at the time, actually verbally told me, turn around, child, it's not your time yet. And I came to, and I actually stood up from the fall. I had broken my neck in 3 spots, my back in 2 spots, and shattered my foot. And I went and hopped and got help.
I am sorry. For one, are you physically okay now? Are you recovering? Like, where are you at? If you don't mind my asking.
I've had 2, no, not at all. I've had 2 failed 5-level fusions. So, I mean, half my back is fused together. And then I had a natural childbirth after. So the bottom of the fusion is going. I'm in chronic pain all the time. And I have fibromyalgia because of it as well. So my life has been not the same, but at the same time and same token, I think it was a big blessing in disguise for me. No pun intended.
So on a quick side note, I just want to make one comment that is off topic. For the record, I am not a medical professional. I do not have any study to back this up. I am just providing a firsthand account of what my friend with fibromyalgia had suggested worked for her, and that's it. This should not be taken as medical advice. My friend said there are a few good specific medical marijuana strains that really alleviated her pain. Just want to pass that on.
I was on medical I was on medical marijuana, and it changed my life. It really did. The problem is it's not covered by insurance, and I'm a stay-at-home mom that hasn't worked for 2 years because of this digressing. I'm actually getting worse. I'd rather fall off the balcony again, all over again.
I am so sorry that you've gone through this. And this, not that this is the show for this, but this brings up, another thing like that I'd like to talk about is our healthcare system. Like, you shouldn't have to be sitting here in pain. You should have help available to you. And I am really sorry that you're going through this.
The sad part, and sorry to, hopefully this doesn't trigger anything. The sad part is the only time I actually got pain relief when I was in the psych ward.
I am so sorry.
Other than that, they won't give it to you. Yeah.
So, to bring things back to your near-death experience, would you say that it was? Would that be how you describe it?
Definitely.
Okay.
I forgot to ask you, are you from Chicago or where are you from? Or
Chicago suburbs, yeah, northwest suburbs.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead. BrainBug.
Oh, yeah. So near-death experiences are kind of I don't want to say they're completely without grounding, but it seems like people tend to experience the things that they would expect to experience in the afterlife when they have these. They have a Christian might see some Christian symbolage, and a Buddhist might see some Buddhist symbolism. was there any religious association with what you saw in your experience?
At that point in time, absolutely not. I had turned away from God. I was going down a dark path at that time and other things that I have gone through. So at that point in life, I kind of turned away and said, if there is a God, why would he put me through this? So I definitely was not for the church. I was not engaging in going to church anymore, and I actually turned away from the Catholic religion.
Oh, so are you Catholic now?
No.
No? Okay.
Born and raised, but I don't put a label on it. I mean, I believe in the higher powers, but I wouldn't put myself in any slot.
Okay. I just wanted to get kind of a bearing on where you were on the supernatural claims and what have you, like where it was rooted, I suppose. You all right, Ethan?
I mean, as a child,
Sorry.
yeah, it was instilled in me as a child, kind of like Anna was talking about, the Catholic religion. But again, at that point, I really didn't have a religion. I mean, at that point, I was probably, marking out the, not religious box for the longest time.
How long do you think you were when you fell that you were out of your body, I suppose?
Honestly, I don't have the slightest, I actually was talking about this today. I have no idea. The only thing I remember is I'm assuming I hit my neck or my head on the second story balcony, but I just remember falling and waking up.
So may I ask, like, what made you think it was something supernatural and not just necessarily your brain giving you a way to understand what happened? Like, just kind of, a lot of chemicals flooding your brain. You had an intense physical experience. How did you get to it being something supernatural outside of your mind?
I guess as corny as this may sound, the brightness of the light, I just at first kind of shook it off to, it was the balcony light, but I was nowhere near the balcony. And those lights are, fluorescent and yellowy. This was a light I've never experienced before or have seen again. And the audio of my grandfather. I mean, I saw my grandfather once or twice in my life, and I knew it was him right away. And I can't say I saw him, but I saw, a shadow, so to speak. And the fact that right when that was said, I came to.
So you don't think it's possible that this was just like your imagination or your brain processing and dealing with what had just transpired?
And experiencing a traumatic head injury, it sounds like, as well.
Right.
Ironically, my head was fine. I don't know how, but I mean, it could have been, but in my heart of hearts, I still feel it was my grandfather. It could have been the adrenaline. I mean, absolutely, it could be proven either way.
Oh, so you are open to the possibility that it may not be a supernatural experience. Am I understanding
Absolutely.
that correct? Okay.
Yeah,
That's an honest position. No, and there's no shame in that at all. Sometimes, I don't know what happened is the right answer.
Agree.
Of course, it sounds like you probably understand why we wouldn't find that necessarily compelling, since all the whole situation happened within, or potentially within your own head. Did somebody find you in that state?
no, I actually stood up and I just thought I broke my foot. So I hopped on one foot and found somebody in the room and started pounding on their door.
That's just that's terrifying. And you were up moving around with all that damage. You're quite an impressive creature there.
Yeah, I guess.
Do I sorry, I just have to ask this. Do I know you personally? Are you on my Facebook?
I am on your Facebook. We have not really spoke much, but sent some messages back and forth before.
After the show, can you just send me a message after this, just as a memory refresher?
Absolutely.
Sweet. Brian, did you have any other questions on
Oh,
this?
not specifically. I think we kind of went over her experience with the near-death experience, and that near-death experiences, by their very nature, are not able to be scrutinized because the situations they happen in are traumatic. Before anybody realizes that someone's experiencing what they would consider a near-death experience, it's over, and you don't find out about it until afterwards. So there's really no way to put it to the test. But it's interesting nonetheless, and we see a lot of, like I said, a lot of situations where people will see religious iconography. Someone in the chat here was mentioning that they see Vishnu a lot in India, things like that. So it's not. I don't think it's necessarily a good measure to test the validity of a supernatural claim. But I thank you for calling in and telling us about it, Isabel. It's certainly quite a harrowing tale.
It is. That's
No problem.
I give you major props for continuing to fight on, and I am truly sorry that right now the healthcare system and our country is failing you, because what you're going
it sure
through
is, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
Nobody should have to go through that. So thank you for calling, and send me a message when you can.
Thank you. Will do. You guys have a good night.
You too.
I could do a whole show about the United States healthcare system as well.
Can we? Because honestly, this is just getting frustrating. And the idea right now, in my opinion, that the right wings, who I used to be, are just so adverse to wanting universal healthcare. Listen to that woman's story. She's not working because she's in chronic pain. Why can't we help people more?
And it's reciprocal too. She's not working because she's in pain. So since she's not working, she's not getting money, so she can't pay for her medications to treat the pain. It's a cycle that she's stuck in.
Exactly. And we should be, it's frustrating because we should be so much more helpful, kind to each other. Right now, if you said, hey, Ethan, I'm going to take an extra 10% out of your taxes every year, but that extra 10% is going to cover healthcare for everyone in this friggin' country, I would do it in a heartbeat. Do I want to lose 10% of my money? No. But for the betterment of society, am I okay with it? Absolutely. Because people need help, man. And
people are okay with their my friend Julie was saying this earlier on her stream, but Julie LaVoice, check her out if you aren't subbed to her. But anyway, she said that why is it that people are okay with their employer taking a portion out of their paycheck, but when the government does it, it's a problem. Because the way that we see your employer picks you, we're supposed to pick our representatives in our state or whatever. They should be working for us. So yeah, that's where you should be able to pool your healthcare funding from. The people that you are basically giving a job to take care of that for you. That's what that's there for. But yeah, I could go on all day about it.
That gives me an idea, Brian. I like doing those roundtables. We should do a roundtable on healthcare. Would you be up for that?
Yeah. Yeah, and let me hit up my friend Julie that I was just talking about too, because she would love to participate in something like that as well.
It would be a lot of fun. I could actually go into a tangent on this, but I won't because this isn't the show for it. This is about supernatural claims. And then real quick, I believe I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Deja, I don't believe we specifically said it was just in your head. We just don't necessarily accept it as a supernatural claim, but I thought we had a pretty good conversation. Is it Deja? If I'm not saying,
is that Baby D?
Baby D, yes.
Hey, Baby D.
A good conversation, Baby D.
I enjoyed talking to you. I didn't mean to make you feel like we were saying it was all in your head. And I'm going to say that to anything that's taking place within yourself that can't be verified by anybody outside, is we have to allow for that option to be the most likely recourse. Because there's precedent for it. However, if you have something that's going on that could be independently verified, I'd love to look into it. But when it comes to I had, an energy pass through me, or I experienced a vision or that nobody else could see. We have to start from the position of how could this be natural first before we move into the supernatural realm. So I didn't mean to make you feel like we were saying it was all in your head, but we do have to present the natural explanations first.
Yeah, I agree. That was our last caller, and I think overall we had a pretty smooth show, Brian.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yes, and all the ladies that called in tonight, thank you for sharing your experiences with us. Really some interesting tidbits of, and it's the first two, that was kind of interesting how they both had the same kind of theme going for them.
And real quick before I forget, I want to thank my patrons: Cindy PLAZA, Trina Deluca, Kenneth Leonard, Kathy Letto, Ian Davenport, Bestname Ever, the Blazing Wizard Pope. Yeah, thanks guys, appreciate it. We do this. I'm sorry for can you hear my nephew in the background? Sorry. He is playing right now. Anyways, we do this show every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Tomorrow, I am having the Faces of Depression Roundtable, and we're going to have Eric Murphy on, Jenna Belk, and the Dishonest Ape, and we will be talking about our experiences. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, go to BrainBug's channel, like and subscribe there. Where can everyone check you out at, Brian?
Well, yeah, mostly active on YouTube. I haven't really dabbled too much into the Facebook, but I'm thinking about maybe expanding that for my channel out there as well. Just to give a quick plug to some stuff I got going up, because I see Dragons and Genesis in the YouTube chat, and me and Dragons and Genesis will be sitting down Saturday afternoon at 2 Eastern, 3 Eastern, 2 Central, and we will be talking about monsters in the Bible. Just a fun conversation about just different monsters and beasts from the biblical text. And tomorrow night, if you have time, I'm doing with Mama Atheist, we're doing the premiere of our show. We Have the Science with PZ Myers. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's does some counter apologetics. And he is a biologist, has some cool spider videos too.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. Brian, I want to thank you for doing the show with me again. It was great to come back and start doing this, and hopefully we're back on schedule now.
Yep.
So,
I will be coming back.
I hope so too. So everyone, make sure you like and subscribe. And I don't know, my brain's still getting back used to things, and I'm having trouble finding the words I want to use right now. So, hey, everyone be safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a good week.